The sun is the pure masculine force within all people, and as I covered in the first video, masculinity is initiative action into the external world. And the sun's form of masculinity is for obtaining greater self-knowledge through that initiation process and to discover your divine purpose by doing and not thinking or reflecting about what to do. So it's the action of performing what our soul is calling us to do. And so in this video, I'm going to break down what divine masculinity means. So what are the traits of divine masculinity as expressed by the sun? So first and foremost, it's the ability to be protective over those weaker than yourself and for people to depend on you to be strong for them. So the divine masculine has this protectiveness in the preemptive sense, which means to be looking out for other people and their interest based on one's own set of principles that you live by. And this differs from the Mars form of masculinity, which is actively defending another person in the heat of the moment or attacking a threat. So it's a more Mars's emergency response, that type of protectiveness in a specific situation to get yourself out of a certain problem. So the healthy masculinity, healthy divine masculine, has foundational principles that are meant to serve others by providing them safety and security, particularly for people who you're responsible for, and then protecting those principles from other people or threats that may not respect those principles that you live by. So when I say it's preemptive protectiveness, it's has this kind of way of looking out for what one believes in and then being stable in that foundation of what you believe in and then protecting those beliefs and those principles, and then by extension protecting the people that you're responsible for. And in that, you can then see that the sun is the planet of, and it's the force within us, of true leadership. And it's to be the brightest and most dominant person in a given context. And with that leadership comes more responsibility. And not all men are going to be big leaders in their regular life, but everyone enters into a situation where they're called to be a leader, including women who have divine masculinity within themselves as well. So everyone has a certain points and time when you're called to lead other people and guide them. So in French, there's this term, noblesse oblige, which means that the nobles, the noblesse, or the leaders in society have an obligation to care for the people that they rule over and have power over. And that's what divine masculinity is. So the leaders, or you could think about it, the solar force within us, is strengthened when a person learns to take responsibility and just being a responsible person in general. That's an important divine masculine trait. So the healthy solar force sees the best interests in people who are beneath them, say on a hierarchy, whether it's in the larger context of having leadership responsibilities, say in a company or in a community, or even just in a smaller context in your family. And by doing what's in the best interests of other people also means that you might not want to do that thing, you might not personally benefit from it, but it benefits the people that depend on you. So part of divine masculinity is knowing when something is good for others that you're responsible for, although it may not be to your direct benefit. And that leads us to a very important and the second ability of a strong masculine force, a strong masculine force of divine masculinity, is the ability for sacrifice. And that means to selflessly serve the best interests of others, especially when your individual ego may not want to do it, or at sometimes it might even be detrimental to you, but it's a part of your responsibility to do it. And so by making sacrifices for the betterment of people around you in our actions that we take, again, not what we think, in our actions, that's what the initiative masculine force is. When we do these actions into the external world, the ultimate goal is to create stability in our environment. And that is another key function of divine masculinity, is to provide dependable and a consistent environment around us. So when you think about it, what kind of leader will create instability? Well, a leader that creates instability is taking a selfish, they're an individualistic leader, meaning that their masculinity is not looking out for the best interests of other people. They're not able to sacrifice for other people. They're thinking of what their own best interests are when they're in a leadership position. And that's a toxic masculine trait. But the healthy divine masculine makes other people feel at ease when they're in their presence, just like how the sun every single day reliably comes over the horizon on the east and goes to the west. It doesn't have phases like the moon. It never goes retrograde. It's literally the most stable of all the planets. You can depend on the sun in that way. And within each person, the divine masculine force, you're creating stability through reliability. And a person with a strong and healthy sun is not going to be easily swayed by the opinions of others. But at the same time, they'll be open to suggestions, especially if you're responsible for the person offering the suggestion. So the strong solar force, a strong divine masculine force, is guided more from their own intuition as what the best course of action is. They can sense what the best course of action is. And so very often people attribute the skill of intuition as a feminine force, as a part of the divine femininity. And the feminine has intuition as well. But it's also a skill of masculinity in that it's within oneself. We feel a fire of inspiration to know intuitively what the proper course of action is without always having to think about it step by step. So even though, as I'll talk about in a moment, that the divine masculinity is rational intelligence, divine masculinity also has this intuitive sense of what your conscience is, that you don't have to think out each step. You know what the right thing to do, again, I emphasize to do in action, because that's what initiative masculinity is. You just sense what the right thing to do is, and you don't have to really think about it. And that's what the sun's intuition, that's the masculine intuition is. It's the force of one's conscience about what to do. And so the feminine, we'll talk about the divine feminine type of intuition in the next video. But the sun's intuition is to know the path intuitively that one must forge into the world, not just one's conscience, but having that intuitive sense of what I have to do in my life. And then to be deeply in contact with what your soul wants to do in this world, what it's calling you to do in this world. So the ability to be in contact with one's soul is a very masculine, it's the ultimate ability of a strong, healthy sun, and the solar masculine force is to be able to be in touch with your soul and your soul's path in this world of what your soul wants you to do, and to be able to intuit that path and then live out that path. So using these abilities of being protective of those who are weaker and who you're responsible for, taking that responsibility and being a leader, even if it's only in certain situations in your life. You're not the alpha in town. Maybe you just are in certain situations that you have to be a leader. Through that, providing stability, and then following your intuitive inspiration to forge your soul's path in the world, to carve out your place in the world and to secure your territory of whatever that is. Then the divine masculine, by doing those things, the divine masculine and the solar masculinity is able to build self-confidence and self-respect, and then expects others to respect them in turn. So masculinity itself thrives on respect. And it has to start with respecting yourself, and then being able to, because of one's self-respect, be respected by your peers and from society. And this fuels a positive feedback loop of encouragement, giving encouragement to a person to continue doing what they're doing with even more vigor and strength, and with courage to continue down that path. So they're building up that self-confidence, and then that confidence feeds itself from the outside world saying, yeah, that what you're doing, keep going. And so that makes a person, the masculine force, stronger. So the unhealthy masculine force is easily offended by displays of disrespect from other people. But at the same time, a healthy masculine force at the same time is not going to be tolerating disrespect, and especially if you're having your core principles to be disrespected, but there's no deep sense of offense to it. The person may say, okay, I'm being disrespected. I'm not going to be around this person, or I'm going to have a sense of, say, honor and defend my position in whatever situation. but at the same time, they're not emotionally offended by it. They can say that person's wrong, but it's not shaking the strong masculine force. So emotionally overreacting to displays of disrespect shows whether the masculine force is healthy or not. And a healthy reaction is with a rational cool-headedness and how to manage one's, say a person affronts you with some kind of disrespectful comment. And when you think back about the honor culture of if someone offended you in a certain way, offended your honor as a gentleman, or in some way, the person who was having their honor disrespected say, okay, I'll challenge you to a duel now. And that was the real test of how serious the other person was in their offense to you. Are you willing to I'm willing to put my life on the line to defend my honor or my principles. Are you ready to do that? Is your show of disrespect that important that you're gonna you're gonna die for it? Or did you just make some comment that was a stupid comment? And so that kind of high stakes of, if someone is going to offend you, a rational, cool-headed person to say, how far do you want to take this? Because I'm willing to die for my honor. And nowadays that is people would consider that arcane, but think about the level of self-confidence and strength that you would have to say, I'm willing to die for what I believe. I'm willing to die for my honor. And you could say, oh, well, you're putting yourself and your family in danger if you died. But this was kind of a method in order to keep in check the people of the society so that people don't do dishonorable things in general, even small dishonorable things, cheating and lying. It's a preventative measure because you could take it up that escalation ladder, and it all comes back down to whether a man is confident enough in his position, willing to defend his position and his principles to that extent. And that is all. We don't live by that. And so you see a lot of dishonorable action in the world, dishonorable action is toxic masculinity. And so that brings me to the final trait I want to talk about in this video about rational intelligence being a divine masculine trait. And what that means is that it's the step-by-step logical process of putting the world together structuring the world in a certain way, being able to do that logical process. That's a masculine trait. And when you think about the feminine trait, we're talking about emotional or interior self-knowledge, the divine feminine. And that divine feminine, even though emotions are logical, there's a biological, logical process of why you feel a certain emotion. The feminine is about understanding that internal subjective experience in an accurate way. And as we'll talk about in the next video, the feminine is all about interior understanding. It's about one's internal world and developing that healthily and all of the things that come through that. The divine masculine is the objective understanding of how things are and being able to have that intelligence where you're having an accurate understanding of what actually is objectively that everyone can agree on. And that quite simply is what the intelligence of the masculine is. And so both men and women have divine masculinity within them. But as I spoke about in the first video, it's more important for men to develop the healthy divine masculine traits in the first half of their life up until about 40 years old than it is for women. And so it's not that women can't have toxic masculine traits, and it's not that women don't have positive masculine traits. Because again, they have masculinity within them to a certain extent, but it's in a less proportion in them than it is for men, particularly in the first half of a person's life. And so the divine masculine is going to have less influence over women in their overall fulfillment than it is for men. Men need to develop this in their early part of their life, because I've been talking about how testosterone is higher in proportion in men, and that is the hormonal expression of what the divine masculine is. It causes a different type of behavior, that hormone in our biology. So an over-focus on developing masculine traits by women leads to a de-emphasis in the divine feminine, and then that results in an energetic and chemical imbalance that eventually leads them to a lack of self-knowledge about their femininity, and then a lack of understanding or a lack of ability to have a really more fulfilling life. So women who are focusing on masculine traits, they can run afoul because of just the biological reality of what the higher proportion of estrogen and other hormonal changes within them are all expressions of the divine feminine. And there are interesting cases. For example, some women are being called by their soul in some capacity to develop divine masculine traits. So one example, if you see in a chart, if the sun is conjunct Rahu in a woman's chart, this shows a lack of karmic knowledge of what the masculine force is. And it's going to propel the woman towards understanding masculinity in a trial and error experimental fashion, that what Rahu does. So actually in their life, they're being called to understand what masculinity is. That doesn't mean being a man, or it doesn't mean acting like a man. What is masculinity? What are the positive traits of it? Understanding it and developing those in a person. So their soul needs to understand what divine masculinity is as a subconscious drive. They need to engage with what that means. And that can actually result in more outwardly masculine behavior in those types of women. But because, again, of the biological factor of estrogen, these women still have to emphasize developing the divine femininity in them. And one could argue that, and what I believe is that the ultimate goal is to balance out these two forces in a person as one grows older. So the ability to fully balance the divine masculine, divine feminine in women, that it's only going to come after the age of 40. By over committing to developing masculinity before then is going to hinder development of their femininity, and then their biology will start to act up in certain ways. They're going to be driven by things that they're not being called to develop, even though, as I was saying, there can be some difference in each person's chart. There can be different emphasis. But because when we return to biology, women who overemphasize masculine traits are going to run awry of their biological necessities that their femininity is calling them to do as well. So there's a lot of caveats, but the key takeaway is that men need to focus on these character qualities, and these character qualities of what strong masculinity is. And as you may have noticed, I didn't mention anything sexual, and I'm not talking about anything about what it means to be man in terms of looks and in terms of presence. Presence, you want to have a strong, sturdy, stable presence, but it's not a sexual force, the divine masculine. And as we'll talk about the divine feminine, it's not a sexual force either. And after I talk about the divine feminine in the next video, I'm going to be talking about misunderstandings of these two forces that are leading society into really troubling scenarios. So the bottom line to end this video is that men need to work on these character qualities of what the divine masculine is in the first 40 years of their life. When those character qualities are solidified in a man and they're a firm part of his character, then as his testosterone starts to go down, that hormonal expression of the divine masculine, as he moves into his 40s, into his 50s, he'll naturally start to balance out that masculinity with feminine traits. That's why you see men calm down with age. They don't have that same kind of vigor and that same kind of thrust, initiative, action into the world. They're not as wild or rambunctious as you could say. It's because their biology is changing. But if they have a healthy masculine force in that early part of their life and that's been solidified and it's strong and they're confident in themselves of what their masculinity is, naturally they're going to be called to help balance that with certain feminine traits. Or that's not to become effeminate, but to understand what the divine feminine is and how they can work and balance within oneself. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. What is the divine feminine and how it's important for women to develop it, and for how they can go awry when they emphasize it too much, as with women who emphasize masculinity too much in the early part of their life. So stay tuned in the next video, and we're going to be talking about that divine lunar force, the divine feminine force in every person.